Welcome back to the Budget Gamer channel, where we bring you critical and in-depth reviews of just about every indie game we can get our hands on, and today we're going to be taking a look at Stardash for the Nintendo Switch. And if you've never heard of this one before, or I suppose even if you have, this game, Stardash, is actually another mobile port to the Switch. But before you start hating on the game because it's a port, just hold up, because you may find a whole lot more reasons to hate on it. But don't worry, this is not an open flame. It's a review. There's just some things that you may expect, and some things that you may not expect. So buckle in, because it might get bumpy. Stardash is a retro-inspired, classic arcade-style action platformer. Or at least that's probably what you would think by looking at the screenshots. In reality, the genre is much closer to a speedrunner-style punishing platformer. And so in that sense, we don't really get a story, because there's absolutely no need for one. All you're expected to do, like most mobile platformers, is complete a small level section as fast or as accurately as you can to achieve 1 of 3 stars. Stars, of course, can be earned by completing the level before that little timer in the top right corner runs out, or by collecting all the coins, or by playing it in flipped mode, which actually changes from a left to right progression to a right to left progression. And since nearly every single platformer since the dawn of gaming has moved left to right, simply flipping the screen around really does exponentially increase the difficulty level of the game. So if you're in for a challenge, try playing it in flipped mode. But that's not the only challenge that Stardash offers. Because as a brutally punishing, frantic platformer, it pretty much plays like somebody rubber banded down the turbo button on your bootleg Genesis controller. All of the movements, the enemy movements, your own movements, the jump action, the forward progression of the game are incredibly quick. And so as you can imagine, it really reduces your reaction time and does force you to rely a lot on level memory. So thankfully the levels aren't that long. But with absolutely no checkpoints throughout the game, you can expect that even the tiniest of levels will keep you occupied for quite some time. But if you are an absolutely god mode gamer, Stardash does offer one more incentive to those completionists who just really masochistically crave some punishment. And that is that there is a secret key hidden somewhere in every single one of the game's levels to unlock one of the final levels in each world, which is supposed to offer some real gamer challenge, as if the original levels weren't hard enough. But thankfully, mechanically at least, Stardash is pretty simple. All you have to do is control your character right or left and jump. And while simple controls generally beget simple gameplay, nothing about that means that Stardash is easy. And that is something we'll probably be seeing again in the critiques. Looking at Stardash aesthetically though, visually it's exactly what you would expect from a retro-inspired game. It's pretty much monochromatic, it's a low pixel count, it's got choppy animated sprites that make anyone remember the Game Boy, and the music is chippy and fairly high energy and does help to control your mood just a little bit to abate some frustration as you try and make your way to the end of each level. That is, if the music doesn't cut out. But if the music does completely drop out like it did for me in World 1 a couple of times, you can just reset the game, start it over, and hopefully it'll stay there for you the next playthrough. But besides that one little audio bug, at least aesthetically, Stardash is a pretty good game. Moving into the critique section though, which is, I warn you gamers and gentlemen, coming in hot. We do have a few things to talk about, and chiefly among which isn't the game's length, it's not particularly its controls, but it is its control scheme and its physics. Specifically referencing game, enemy, environment, and player hitboxes. And if you've ever heard this term before, the best I can describe Stardash's physics and control scheme is a PFM system, or pure friggin' magic. It is completely unpredictable to the point where it almost seems random. Hitboxes are so ridiculously tight that you can literally have enemies or coins or even ledges go right through the player character. And so even though I'm assuming that these hitboxes stay static throughout the entire gameplay, it really does give you a sense of just not having any idea how you missed a ledge, how you were hit by an enemy, or in certain situations even what managed to kill you. And so thankfully one of the benefits of recording all of your gameplay is that I could actually slow down the footage and see exactly what did happen when I died on a few random occasions. But in efforts to cease the rant, moving on into the topic, the control scheme of a game and the tightness of the jump mechanics are integral to the enjoyability of a platformer. I mean, floaty jump mechanics, loose or overly tight hitboxes, they all really do affect the enjoyability of the game. But as long as they are consistent, as long as they're predictable, they can be learned and they can be coped with. And so in all efforts of fairness, I actually went through 3 sets of controllers during my gameplay through Stardash just to make sure it wasn't an issue with lag, an issue with latency, an issue with a specific controller's button scheme up, and any issue with possibly firmware of the controller itself. And still, I had essentially the same gameplay experience, so I brought in a friend. And also trying out 3 different controllers and trying as best they could to make it through the levels, they had a really similar experience to my own, so hopefully that's enough to get a little bit of credibility. But as Stardash is a frantic, punishing platformer, there's really not much about the game to critique. Yes, the mechanics are overly fast as far as the speed of the game is concerned, but that's not really a bad thing, or at least it's not a critique. That was the intention of the game, and though it does possibly artificially increase the difficulty level of the game, it's a standard mechanic and it's easily something that you can cope with. And so taking a step back and looking at Stardash as a whole, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least issue a little bit of a caution to any gamer who doesn't just have an innate investment in breaking their own Joy-Cons or signing up for anger management classes. Stardash is a difficult game. It is brutal and it is frantic and it's really hard to cope with, especially when you feel like you're dying over and over and over for absolutely no reason, for really simple things that the programmer could have fixed. But that being said, this game did keep me and a friend of mine up until well after 2 a.m. last night, just trying to get 1 inch further in the course after every single one of our millions and millions of deaths. And so in that sense, there is something masochistically satisfying about the challenge of the game despite its brutal unfairness. And so if you are one of those gamers who finds yourself just pushing for more challenge and more challenge because you know you can do it, then maybe Stardash might be a game that you'd want to dip your toes into. But as it is also available on mobile platforms, maybe not for the $9.99 price tag. But anyway, that does about bring us to the close of the review of Stardash, now on the Nintendo Switch. So if you enjoyed the review, or especially if you found it helpful, feel free to throw us a like or a comment to show your support. And don't forget to click that little bell icon when you subscribe to stay updated with the latest content, because there are new and unique indie games coming out literally every single day. So whether it's an easy hard pass or an absolutely unforgettable gem, chances are if it's on the Switch, you're gonna find out about it right here. But anyway, this has been The Budget Gamers. As always, thanks for watching.